Hello everyone, myself Ayush and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you all about the basic fundamentals of JavaScript, Python, C, C++, Java. Similarly, JavaScript is also one of the most used programming language which is mainly used for the purpose of web development. So if you want to become a successful web developer, you must know the fundamentals as well as advanced topics of JavaScript. In today's video, I'm going to tell you all about the basic fundamentals like comments and variables in JavaScript. So without wasting any time, let us dive into the video. Starting with the first topic, which is comment. So what is a comment? Basically, comment is a statement that you specify in your code to make the reader understand that what a specific piece of code means. So let's say you are writing some code, but the reader at some point gets confused at what the piece of code actually means. So what you can do is you can use comments to make a specific meaning of a piece of code that you have written. So let's say you write console.log hello world. Now this is a piece of code. Now let's say there is somebody who does not understand JavaScript, so he might not understand console.log hello world, what's the meaning of this piece of code. So you can make him understand by writing like / prints hello world. Now when you write it like that, what happens that he understands by reading the statement like this piece of code actually prints hello world to the console. Now there is a confusion of a lot of people how to open the console in Visual Studio Code. You need to simply press Ctrl plus tilde. It's going to open the terminal or console. Now here you can run the JavaScript code by writing node, and there is going to be the file name or the index.js here. So you must make sure that the file name is correct, followed by the node keyword to execute your code, and you can see hello world is there. So this is how you create comments in JavaScript. Now coming on to the main topic of today's video, which is variables. So variables are like entities in a programming language which are specially made for the purpose for storing some values. So every programming language is having some different syntax for creating or doing specific tasks. Like you can see console.log hello world is used in JavaScript to print something to the console. The same thing can be done in Python by using print hello world. Similarly, in other languages there are some different syntax for doing some specific task. Similarly, for creating a kind of variable, you need following syntax like declarator, then the variable name equal to the value. I'm going to tell you about that, but even before that I want to explain about the sequential manner of execution. So whenever you runs your code, you see that the code always runs from the first line to the last line. Means it runs your code step by step. Like first you console.log hello world, then this comment comes, it ignores the comment, and after that it executes entire codes in a sequential manner. So you must ensure that when you write your code, it should be in a sequential manner for the successful execution. Now how to create a variable? So for creating a variable, there is a specific syntax which is as follows. You need to first mention a declarator, then followed by the variable name equal to value. Now I'm going to explain you about that. So declarator is basically a keyword which is used to specify that you want to create a variable. So when the executor executes your code, it must understand that you are creating a variable, and how you make him understand is by using a declarator. So there are three declarators in JavaScript. First is let. So there is let, const, and var. Let and var are both used for creating mutable variables. Mutable variables means that they can be changed throughout the program at some point. Let's say for default, let's say let name equal to Ayush. Let's take an example. So you're having the variable name. So you're having a variable with the name of name, and it's containing the value Ayush. So it's a mutable one because it's using let. So you can change the value of this variable anytime you want. How you can do that? You can simply write like name equal to Harsh. Now how do you know it changes the value? So what you can do is you can print it. So let's say let name equal to Ayush. So you can say at console.log name. It's going to print Ayush. Okay, let me run this. So you can see hello world is there, as you can see from the first line, then to the last, then there is Ayush. You can see let name equal to Ayush. So console.log prints the name Ayush. Now I have changed the name to Harsh. So now if I print the name, it's going to print Harsh. So yeah, that's the use of let. And the same thing happens when you use var. So what's the difference? Basically let is most frequently used by the developers and var is less used. Now what is the use of const? Const is also one of the most important declarators. Now the use of const is that the const is used to create immutable variables. Like you cannot change the value of those variables throughout the program. Like let's say const pi. Now let's say you're creating a mathematical program which is involving the use of pi, which is a universal constant, which is 3.14. Now you cannot change the universal constant, right? So you say const pi equal to 3.14. Now you cannot change the value of pi as 4 by writing it anywhere in the program. If you do so, it will throw you an error. Assignment of the constant variable. So when you use const, it creates something which is constant. You cannot change it anywhere in the program. But let's say in place of const, if I use let, now you can change it, like you can change it the value of pi to 4. If I run it again, you will see that there is no error. If I print it, it's going to print 4 because now the new value is 4. Wait a minute. Print, okay, sorry. Print, not print. It's console.log, right? I'm going to use it. Now if I run this, now one more important tip for those who are using VS Code, if you don't want to write node index.js again and again for running your code, what you can do is you can simply press the up arrow button on your keyboard, and it's going to take the previous command that you have entered in the console and then press enter. That's it. It will execute the code. So this is how you create variables. First you need to specify the declarator. It can be let, var, as well as const. Then you need to specify the variable name. Variable name can be anything, but you must make sure some criteria, like the variable name cannot start with numbers, right? So if you start with number, it will not it will give you some errors, like you can see some dark you can see some red underlining there. So it basically says that there is some error in your piece of code. So you cannot start with numbers. You can include numbers at the end of the variables. You can include numbers in between the name of the variable. You cannot use special symbols in the variable, let's say name hashtag me. So it's also incorrect. You can only use, let's say, $. If you want to use, you can use $. You can use underscore, and you can use numbers at the end or at the starting. So this is the main criteria for creating a variable. And after all of that comes the main topic, like the values. So when you store any value in a variable, the value can be of any data type. What are data types? Basically the kind of data you are storing. Let's say you are having some data. The data can either be in the form of a string, it can be a number, it can be a boolean. I'm going to explain you about that. So let's say string. What is a string? String is basically anything that you write in single quotes, or let's say double quotes. So whatever you write in between the single quotes or double quotes become a string. So let me just comment it out so that the executor ignores this line of code. Now string is basically something what you write in between the single quote as well as the double quotes. What is the integer? Basically integer is any number that you type in your code. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. But you must make sure that you have written them without the single quotes or double quotes. But if you write them with single quotes and double quotes, they are no longer integers. Even if you have used numbers, they become a string. Okay, so that's basically the integers. Then comes the booleans. So what are booleans? Let's say a decisive statement you are making. So in the decisive statements, it's very much necessary you have two values, true and false. Either a statement can be true, either the statement can be false. So basically the boolean is either true or false. So this is how string works, integer works, and booleans. One more very important one, which is float values. So float values are those values which are integer plus some decimal places. For example, let's say pi. So pi is what? Pi is 3.14. So pi is using integer as well plus some decimal places. Okay, so this is the example of a float. So yeah, that's about data types, variables, as well as comments. So yeah, that's all for today's video. Meet in the next video with some more fundamentals of JavaScript. Till then, see you.